Okay, so the first thing I want to do this week is show you how to create and manipulate arrays. So up till now we've considered variables to be scalars, so we've had things like x equals 3, and then you can get it to show you what the value of x is just by typing x and pressing return. But you can also have arrays of numbers, so you might want to think of these as vectors. And there's a couple of different ways you can define arrays in MATLAB. The first is to do it explicitly, so you can just type a bunch of numbers between square brackets, and that will give you an array. This one is 1 row, 5 columns. You can get the same thing by creating the array with the colon notation. So if you type that, that says to MATLAB, create me an array x with elements that run from 1 to 5. So you get the same thing. So these two, the explicit way and the colon notation way, are equivalent. You can also create arrays with some functions, so you can use the function zeros and then you give it a size. So let's say I want an array that has 10 elements and I set them all equal to 0. So if you count up these, it should be 10. And you can also use the function ones to give you the same thing. So let's say I want an array that has 5 elements, all of which I set originally to the value 1. That achieves that. Sooner or later you're going to want to access an individual element of an array. So let's create the one that we started with again. Okay, so that's what x equals. And I can get the ith element of the array by using x open bracket and then whichever element I want. So let's say if I want the third element, that will give me the value 3 in this example. If I wanted the fourth element, it would be 4. Okay, so and of course the power of this comes in when you have a loop where you iterate over all of the individual elements in an array and do something for each one in turn, and we'll see that a bit later. Other things you can do, MATLAB has some nice built-in functions, so you can find the max of x, max value of x, so that gives you 5. That makes sense because 5 is the biggest number. You can do the same, you can find the minimum, or you can find the sum. So that was the sum 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. You can even find the mean. There's a built-in function for that. You can extend arrays too, so you can do that in a couple of different ways. So if you wanted to add on now the following elements, you do that like this. So now you've got an array which is what you started with, x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then you've added on 3 extra elements, 9, 10 and 11. You could define another array, y, let's say, where you put in, I don't know, making it up, y is that, and then you can do, say, z equals, then you can do x, y. So that will give you x and then y extended. That'll give you z. So now you see you've got x and then you've appended the other array y to the end. If you want to know how many elements an array has, you can get that with the length function. So length z, that tells you that z has 11 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sooner or later you're going to want to be able to address a sub-array of an array that you've defined. So let's say we've got my array z here. So let's say I only want to work with the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th elements. I can get those by writing this. So that was the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th elements. Okay, and MATLAB has a nice function called find. So maybe I have an array and I only want to select out the elements where something is true about the array. So I only want the elements where z is greater than 5, let's say. So what that's given me now is an array of the element indexes for the elements that are where z is greater than 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's the first one that's greater than 5. Then all the others are 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Let's say that I want to do something cleverer than that. Let's say I want to only work with the even numbers from array z. So I can do that using the mod function. So mod means something modulo something else. So if z mod z comma 2 equals 0, that means that the element is divisible by 2 exactly, because the remainder when you divide it by 2 is 0. So that will select out all the even numbers. Let's make sure it's worked. So the first one should be element 2, that's the number 2, that's an even number. The next one should be element 4, that's 4, that's good. The next one should be element 7, that's 5, 6, 7, yep, that's even. And the only other one should be element 9, that's 7, 8, 9, that's 20. So that works too.